Welcome to the Be Amazing podcast. On this show, we'll give you the fuel you need through motivational pep talks, the fitness tips to be your healthiest self, fortitude to push through the hardships, and focus you need to build the skills needed for the next level, no matter what that looks like to you. I'm your host, Cel Smart. I'm a wife, a mom, community leader, and fitness professional of over 18 years. I'm here to be your biggest cheerleader, advocate, and connector. Let's be amazing together.
Hi everyone, it's Cel, and today I am right here at Chadwell Supply in Charlotte, and I'm with Christine Velander. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you.
I'm excited, and we're hearing a lot of noise right now.
Right. You're going to hear a lot of noise. We're in our warehouse, so you're going to hear beep beeps in our forklift. They're busy loading for tomorrow.
Yeah, and it is a huge warehouse. Well, I want to say, first of all, thank you so much. You all have come on board as a featured partner for the Celebrating Women in the Queen City event happening on March 24th. And I really just wanted to sit down and let's talk about Chadwell Supply. So Tell me a little bit about just what is Chadwell, who do you serve, all of those details.
Okay. So Chadwell Supply was three brothers. Larry, Jimmy, and David came back into the supply business. Should I look at you or you?
You can look at me, it doesn't matter. We can talk right here or talk to the camera.
Back in 2007, I joined the organization 3 years ago in July. I'm going to say 3 years. And Chadwell Supply serves the multifamily industry. That is our only customer. It's our only vertical, and I think that's why we are the best at what we do, because we're only focused on one vertical.
Well, I found that really interesting because multifamily, this is where we met, is multifamily industry, and we've run across each other's paths quite a bit, being a part of the apartment association, trade shows, we all connect. Like multifamily, we all depend on each other. And what I really wanted to know is a little bit more about how, who does Chadwell necessarily serve as far as do you serve on-site people directly, or do you work through distribution? How does that work?
It's kind of multiple ways, and that's one of our strengths, is that we have territory sales managers that are on the ground, and they're out visiting apartment communities every day. And then we have people like myself that are visiting corporate customers, signing national agreements to a partnership, because we want people who it's a win-win for us and it's a win-win for them. We want true partnership. We don't want to just sign anybody. And then of course we have our regional sales managers that work with the territory. There's so many different facets, but we work directly with the properties. One of the benefits though is, actually yesterday I had lunch with a small owner that only has about 240, and most companies wouldn't touch a small owner. But we know that if we're there for them in the beginning, when they are big, they'll remember who took care of them in the beginning.
And I feel like that really represents who Chadwell Supply is, because it's a family. Yes. So this company is family based, and I get the feeling that that's very much the way it is in the company as well.
Yes, it is. I guess you could say second generation. The fathers are still very involved. And one of the cool things, and I actually brought a picture for you. When cool. I first went, they have lunch together every day at the corporate office. They have a big table and a chef, and they eat lunch every day. The fathers, the sons, the family. And then when you go visit, you're invited to have lunch with them. So my very first day at Chadwell, I'm at this huge table with all these new people and all the Chadwells, and I was like, wow, it's for real. They're not imaginary people that hide in the back offices. They're front and center, and they run their business. So it's kind of cool. And you see every once in a while, somebody now is over the credit cards. A lot of family, but I love it because it's what makes us different.
It does. I feel like that's it. You can definitely tell the vibe. I was greeted this morning. Everybody's so friendly and so kind. And then Steve introduced himself. And so it has very much that vibe of just family.
Yes.
So I know that Chadwell Supply also does a lot of community work. Is there anything specific in Charlotte that they've done or been part of that you are excited to share about?
Well, we are very, and I brought a little cheat sheet right here. One of the big things of the Chadwells is they believe in giving back. They give back to us as employees every year. They give back to their community. They're givers. And I think that's why they get so much. But Hatching Hope is huge, and that's the one we did here in Charlotte at our old warehouse with the hurricane up there in the Asheville area. Apartment Life, Move for a Hunger, and Entryway are our 4 big ones. But I know some of the ones they're very passionate about is they do a bike drive in Tampa out of the corporate office, and they put hundreds of bikes together and deliver those. There's so many Spikes for Tykes. Mark Chadwell's big volleyball. Like, he actually sponsors a volleyball team, a professional ladies team, and he is all about
awesome.
He is all about volleyball.
I love that. Well, you just mentioned something about a ladies volleyball team, which really kind of opens up the conversation about women,
right,
and how you feel supported. And talk to me a little bit about that. What is it like now in Chadwell? Like, are they very supportive of women? We talked a little bit about this prior to that. There have been quite a few that have moved up in the company.
Well, I got your invitation. I sent it to my direct manager, and probably a minute later, maybe it might have been 5 minutes later, both the director of marketing and the VP of sales, yes, let's do it. And I was like, oh, well, that was really fast. But they believe in supporting women. Obviously, this field has been male dominated, and it's kind of exciting. I think there's 32 national account salespeople, and there's a smile on our ladies' faces because number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4 are all women.
That's so cool.
I love that. I enjoy that.
Well, and that leads us to talk about you, like how did you become part of this company? Like, I know you've been in multifamily, you've been on the ownership side, and you're on the vendor side. Right. So kind of tell us a little bit about your path and how you got here.
So I have to start with my mother. She used to always tell me, all you have is your word. So don't lie, steal, all the things our mothers teach us. Gosh, I'm getting emotional about that. But then with this business, it's been, I guess, life-changing. Wow, why am I losing it?
It's okay. Because you start to think about your path and your story. And a lot of times what we don't do is we don't look at how we don't really reflect on it much. But when we start to reflect on how we got to where we are right now, and you take a minute, it is emotional.
Okay, let's pull back the fun. Let's pull back the funny. Wow, emotional. Anyway, but I was also taught, you should always treat everybody with respect. So long story short, Cynthia Stewart, her husband works for Chadwell Supply. And so during COVID, I was just like at a plateau with my other job. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't unhappy, but there was nowhere to go. So I started thinking, what can I do? And this was all during COVID. What can I do that it's a product that everybody needs all the time? And I was like, ooh, I wonder about maintenance supplies. So I called a couple people that did it before that were women. And then I was like, oh, Cynthia's husband works for Chadwell Supply. So funny story back, she used to take care of my son at Second Baptist Daycare. But that's about keeping those relationships, no matter how they serve you or you serve them. I called her and I'm like, hey, girl. It's Chris Velander. And then we just caught up, and I'm like, I really want to try to get in with Chadwell Supply. She goes, give me 5 minutes. Sean Barney will call you. She wasn't kidding. And this was a wife of an employee, but she knew Sean Barney, who's the RVP for our area. And 5 minutes later, ring, it was Sean. So really, I have her to thank, a person that took care of my son 16 years ago.
That says so much. And because it's true, like, your network is your worth, really. Like, it's who you know. And it doesn't mean that it's necessarily somebody that you know. Like you said, she wasn't in Chadwell, but she was connected because of her husband. Right. And I think that's the value when we build relationships. Like, don't neglect the relationships you have. Like, and not because you're trying to get something out of it, but just having that network and those connections you may be able to serve them as well as they serve you at some point in your life.
Yes. So, long story, to get to the answer, it took me about a year to come on with Chadwell Supply because people do not leave there. A few are asked to leave. I mean, that's just natural, right? That happens. But people retire from here, or they're promoted and that opens. And then that's what happened for me. The 2 national account people for this area were promoted into different roles, which opened up for me. So
that's so cool. And let's talk about your awards, because I know you have some awards going on. We have to talk about that. We're celebrating women.
Well, at our conference, I won the Regional National Account Manager of the Year, and then I was shocked to win National Account Manager of the Year overall because, I will say, like, I'm kind of off the high from it, like, now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm only at 93% of my goal in the first quarter. But it was a lot easier and a lot more fun, like climbing to the top and catching people. There was just certain people that I was like, oh, I got to beat them. I got to catch this person. And one person, Julie Pierce, who is out of Atlanta, she's really, I guess you could say, the one that opened the door for all of the women at Chadwell Supply, because she just crushed it as a national account manager. And so I was always, where's Julie? Where's Julie? Where's Julie? Where's Julie? And to actually catch her was like, wow, right? Because she is the bomb. And so she don't even know I probably looked up to her, but she was my target all along. Like, I'm gonna catch Julie Pierce, and I did. And funny thing is, she is the other person going on the trip this year, so I hope to get to know her a little bit better.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And I love that, because I have a similar thing with what I do. I have a teammate. His name is T-Bird, and he and I've been in it together, been with Ready Fitness for 10 years together from the very start. And so we have that same relationship where it's like, I'll look at it's like a scoreboard. You're like looking, you're like, dang it. So I got to pull up next to you. So we have all this banter back and forth. But I would like to know, did you have any other mentors in your life? I know your mom was a big mentor. Was there anybody else in multifamily or even in Chadwell now that you consider somebody as a mentor for you?
Well, to hit it 3 circle, I am the youngest of 12 children. And so I had all my siblings, right? But my one sister, Mary, I kind of grew up in a family business, and I was always trained by her, no matter where you work, treat it like it's yours, and you'll be valuable. And she was right. But she was also the one that, you were 5 minutes late today. And I'm like, what? Like, she was the hardest boss I've ever had. And if we were standing around talking, because we were selling furniture, right? She would come up and go, do you have anything to do? We could clean furniture. We could phone some customers. Like, she taught me work ethic, for sure. And I didn't like her very much for it then. But now I get it.
Well, what would you say to somebody that is wanting to break into the multifamily industry, or is they're in a position now and they want to advance? Is there any advice you would give somebody?
Well, you know what? I just realized I went to my sister and didn't say, because this will bring it full circle. Marcy Williams is probably the most impactful. And I wouldn't say she was a mentor, but when I first was going to go into sales, I called her. And the amazing thing about Marcy is she's these high up positions, presidents of company, and I think she's now with Bainbridge.
Yeah, she's now with Bainbridge.
And we could text her right now, and I guarantee you, she would text us back with. It used to be like right away. Come on, let's give the girl a break. Now it's usually with same day, and I respect that because a lot of people in upper management don't do that. And Marcy, no matter how big she's become, she's quick to respond. She does what she's supposed to do, which is probably why she's successful too. But I had lunch with her, and she was like, Christine, you're meant for sales. And if you don't succeed, I'll hire you back. And I think at that time she was with Graystar. She goes, I'll hire you if you don't succeed in sales. Well, she knew I was going to succeed, so she knew she didn't have to make good to that promise. But so her, Brandy Rabalato, Betsy Kirkpatrick Cunningham, and Dana of flattery, are probably the three that when I was looking to go to Chadwell Supply or all along, I'll just call. Betsy took time, and we know Betsy's like a jet setter. She's everywhere. She took time to have lunch with me because I had a couple opportunities ahead of me, and I wanted her input and who she thought was best to go to work for. That was Chadwell, so that was, kind of a feather. But coming into this business, you never want to burn bridges. Never. And that's the amazing thing about the women and the support. Betsy and Dana, very busy. Brandy, very busy. But they will always take a call. They will always give me good advice. Even if I don't want to hear what they have to say, they're going to tell me that. And you can't get that in a lot of businesses. You really cannot get that. It's amazing to me, the support that's there. And there's bridges that I want to light on fire, right? But I'm glad that people were wise to give me advice not to burn bridges, because for the most part, I would say 98% it's love, right? It's kindness, it's giving back. You're going to always have those one or two people who are not your fan and you're not their fan, but you're still cordial because that's what we do as adults, right? But there's no business that you will get more support and more help than multifamily. It's amazing to me. So new people coming in, do what you say you're going to do, and always keep your word, right? And I know in sales, I was telling Bill this on the podcast, in the beginning in sales, I'd be like, oh, that's XYZ, and I wonder why they're calling me on Friday at 5. They must be mad. And I would choose not to answer that phone call because I didn't want to deal with the conflict. Oh, wow, the lights went out. Are we okay with the lights out? Okay. Now we really have to be right. I totally lost my train of thought.
No, I'm just talking about a new person coming in and just the fact of do what you say you're going to do, stay to your word.
Right. It's that's big.
And you were talking to Bill on the podcast. You guys had a conversation about that.
Yeah. So in the beginning, I would avoid. I didn't want confrontation. I didn't want to have to tell him bad news. And now, if it's 5:00 on a Friday, I'm like, hello. Because if you handle it and you just tell them the truth, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, they're going to respect that. Because by the time you avoid their phone call, their text, and their email, they're now mad at you. Mm-hmm. So now you've put yourself in a really bad corner. So I handle all things quickly. Makes your life easy.
Yeah, and communication. Communication, and regardless of how, like you said, whether it's good or bad, it's always important just to address it.
Right.
Because it will keep you in a good place, even with them. Even when it's news they don't want to hear.
Right.
Because that's hard.
Yeah.
Those calls are hard, or those emails are hard.
Yes. I try to call. I do try to call because sometimes my emails are way long. All my coworkers will tell you that. My emails are too long. So I have learned to shorten them up, and I've also learned to add little trick questions at the end to see who actually reads the whole email. They love me for it, but
That's a test. They just didn't read the subject line. They read the whole thing.
Yes. Free lunch with me if you actually respond.
That's awesome.
I interrupt this program for an important announcement. We are having the 3rd annual Celebrating Women in the Queen City event happening Monday, March 24th at Lenny Boy Brewing from 6 to 8:30 p.m. It is a night of networking, inspiration, and celebration. And we are celebrating and highlighting women in multifamily. We have 2 dynamic panels that are gonna be in this live Be Amazing podcast. So you don't wanna miss it. Get your tickets today, $10. Go to celiasmart.com right now, get your ticket. Oh yeah, and guys, you're invited too. So make sure you go get your ticket today, $10, celiasmart.com. We'll see you there on the 24th. Now back to the program.
Well, I so appreciate this conversation and just, sharing about Chadwell Supply, what you all do, your journey in multifamily. Is there anything else you would like to leave with us?
Well, I feel like Chadwell Supply has provided me this opportunity, so maybe I should. One of the things that we do very, very well, and Mark Chadwell is doing these short snippet videos, and I listen to them and I re-listen to them, and I'm like, he is brilliant. Like, he is so smart. Battery just knows the right things to say, right? But in his last podcast, he was talking about hiring top talent. And it's not always about hiring top skill. It's about hiring people that believe in your mission, that believe in your culture, and believe in your, oh my goodness, what's the third thing? Oh my gosh, see, this is why I needed my notes.
No, it's
your
okay.
Mission.
Culture.
What would the third thing be? Oh, it hit me too. Anyway, we'll just go, it's a third thing and it's really important.
We can always add it in the notes.
Yeah, we can add it in the notes later. But they really do hire the right people, right? Oh, values, core values. And they are a Christian company. Mm-hmm. So they are definitely, it's different for some people, but they hire the right people. And we are all led to believe like we want to deliver the best customer experience. So we are all about customer experience. And that pays off because everybody from Allison at the front here to the guys out there making the noise, like everybody believes that you deliver excellent customer service and the rest will come to you. And it's on our drivers with a smile on their face. It's with our guys in the back packing that pack the orders correctly, because there's nothing more irritating for our partners than to order something that you really need and then get the wrong thing. So that's like efficiency. We need to be efficient and do the right thing.
Well, I just so appreciate this conversation. If somebody had a question, they wanted to learn more about Chadwell Supply, they wanted to see if there were open job opportunities, how do they get in touch with you?
They can email me. You can call me. Do you want me to give my number?
We'll put your number in, okay. But can they connect with you on LinkedIn?
Absolutely. LinkedIn, yep. I'm always willing to help, and I actually have someone right now that has been trying to be hired, and I want him to be hired. And yesterday I talked to him, I'm like, don't lose faith, because remember, it took me a year. It's all about the right job, because we don't want to hire the right person for the wrong job, because that's just a disaster too.
Well, and I think that's just a really important thing to remember too, is it requires a lot of patience in sales anyway, patience, consistency, and keep showing up. And it sounds like it's very much the same thing,
right?
Especially if it's a role in a company that takes care of their employees like yours does, mm-hmm. and has such a good track record with there not being a lot of turnover. Just be patient.
Right, absolutely. That and let's talk about we only service multifamily.
We talked about multifamily. I don't know that we really dove into this is the only industry you service, correct?
Yes. And that is why we are the best at what we do, because we inventory locally. And in the Carolinas alone, we have Charlotte, Raleigh, Charleston, and then we have 31 warehouses total. So we've really expanded. I don't think people really realize that we're in Phoenix, Arizona. We're in Las Vegas. So we've expanded. Very dominant on, I guess you could say, the eastern seaboard. And then it just keeps, Texas is huge too for us. Very, very, yeah. So we're everywhere. St. Louis, I get excited when I see, they're in Chicago, Illinois now. I'm like, whoa, that's near my hometown. And then we're in Detroit. So it's kind of exciting to see all the different areas opening up. And
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, one last question that I have is, why was it, I know it was easy for you to get the support behind celebrating women in the Queen City, but what is it about for you being a part of this event that we're going to do on Monday?
Just to be with the women that are going to be in that room. Woo! I'm here. And actually, Marcy's going to be there, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's exciting. It was funny. I think I was telling you that Jennifer O'Brien, I called to invite her, and she's like, silly girl, I'm on the panel. I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm excited to see the women and just the support. I mean, it's just going to increase visibility for myself and for Chadwell Supply. And it's also going to I'm going to get to see some people that I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's the best part, is the connection and the community. And anytime there's something like this, I always feel like, especially when partners are involved, I always feel like there's benefits beyond what we even know. You don't even know what's going to come out of just coming together.
Right.
So.
And there is definitely, for those new people, there's that comfort. If I'm not ever leaving Chadwell Supply. Like, they're going to have to get rid of me. I plan to retire from here. But there's a comfort in knowing I don't even have to go look for a job. If I did not have my job, ding, ding, I have over 10 people that I could call, and I would be working within a week. It might not be my dream job, but I mean, they would be crazy not to have me come be their leasing consultant. I would have a job. I just don't know where. I mean, I'm not proud. I'll push a broom if I have to. I mean, I'll do what I have to do. So
yeah, well, we talked about that before. Like, it's really interesting about being in this industry, and because this event is kind of bringing two sides of my life together. So it's like I'm a part of the Charlotte community,
right.
And then there's multifamily, which is its own beast, which a lot of people aren't even aware that you may live in an apartment and not realize like all the moving parts behind, like the huge community behind it.
Right.
So that's what's really cool about this industry is the connections you make. And like you said, being able to pick up the phone and say, hey, I need, do you have a job? Or it might be somebody that's needing a job, and it's like, hey, let me connect you to somebody.
Right.
So that's the beauty of the multifamily industry, and that's what I really feel like is going to be really beauty of this entire event.
It's a huge industry, and people aren't even aware,
I didn't know. 10 years ago, I just rented an apartment. I didn't know what multifamily was.
I remember when you started, you were like a little firecracker. I was like, who's this girl? Like, she's killing it. Who is she? So congratulations. You've had quite a career too.
Yeah, 10 years in the industry. And I started, when you were talking about your reflecting back, I recently had to fill out a bunch of paperwork because I had put my name in for something, and they have all this application, and it was like I went back and started reflecting, and I was like, holy cow, like I started a whole new career at 40 in an industry I didn't even know. Like I knew no one in multifamily.
Right.
The only thing I knew was my boss handed me a computer and said, go build it. Right. And that was it. And he said, oh, and by the way, go be a part of the Greater Charlotte Apartment Association. Go be a member there. He's like, that's the first thing you do when you get back to Charlotte, because this was after our boot camp.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And I get there, and there's like just this world that I didn't even know existed. And I'm so like part of this whole event too is the give back and the supplier community among multifamily, as well as just multifamily as a whole, which is, if you don't know what that is, it's part ownership and part supplier, and it's all of us coming together. But it's just been an incredible 10 years for me, and I'm super appreciative. And that's why it was a no-brainer when it was like 10th year and we're gonna do this 3rd annual women's event. It makes absolute sense to highlight women in multifamily and celebrate them.
Well, thank you for doing this. And I have a question.
Oh, sure.
Okay. So as far as like dress for success.
Oh, yes.
So like I have like Kate Spade bags that I was going to have a garage sale for like 2 years now. They're still in my basement.
Bring them.
So, I mean, as long as they're gently used.
Right.
Like purses, shoes, clothes.
Yes. We just did. I actually filmed with Emily yesterday at Dress for Success. It was in the boutique, because I was like, we got to have specifics on what everybody's to bring. So, so Dress for Success is our partner, and we're doing a finishing touches drive, which is jewelry, handbags, shoes. And then I asked Emily, I'm like, what's the need? Like, what's the real, give me the real, like, let's talk need. And she's like, well, we need clothes sizes plus 14
I can help with that. I've lost some weight recently.
And they need handbags. They do not have, these women do not have handbags. And so handbags are really big, and the accessories. They're like, we're good on shoes, really, we'll take the shoes, but really we're good on that. Here's where the need is.
Okay.
So, and then when you bring them on hangers or put them in a box, but you want them to be like, if you're bringing any clothes, it needs to be like, if I handed it to you, you'd be able to go put it on and show up for a job right then. Because that's how quickly these items are, once they're donated, this is how quickly they can go out of the boutique. But it's just really, it's such a powerful organization and what they're doing for women to help them get on their feet. And then they have the education component. So they're educating these women too. So it's not like we're just dressing them, they're also doing education. Okay. So it was to me, it was like, this is like the perfect match for like everything that we do in multifamily and believe in. And it's like, and we're going to bring Dress for Success in the mix. And it's like, wow, this is all going to be so cool.
Right. And I think people coming in, I look at the leaders, right?
Yeah.
I was hired in Daytona Beach, at like $8 an hour.
Isn't that crazy?
1994. Yeah, wow. And I'm not kidding. I really think it was 8 plus commission, and I thought that was so great. And it was. I mean, look where I am now.
Right.
But you look at Betsy, Dana, Marcy.
Yeah.
Marcy was, I mean, at one time she was a leasing consultant.
Yeah.
And my partner, Steve Hayworth, he started in this business as a groundskeeper, and he's now a national account manager for Chadwell Supply. I mean, he was a construction something for like 37 years.
Yeah.
He's wicked smart. Anything I don't know, I call him. But you really can start in this field at the very, very bottom, and you can be a president of a company. It's amazing. Yeah. So that's why you don't burn any bridges.
No.
None.
And that's why you want to get involved. You want to be a part of multifamily.
Right.
Because the opportunity is there, not just to get a job, but you can get a job and you can be empowered to elevate.
Right.
That's huge.
Well, I appreciate you having me. I'm a talker, so
I love it.
No, this is like keep talking, I'll keep talking. But
No, this is so fun because this is the reason I do the Be Amazing podcast is like it's opportunities to like sit down and have real conversation, and like it's not about perfection and it's not about it being like any certain way. That's why like the noise in the warehouse, it just adds to the fact that we're at Chadwell Supply. This is where we're at. We're not in a studio, we're here.
Right.
But thank you so much. Like this has been great.
I'm excited. See everybody, I guess, next week.
We'll see you on Monday, March 24th, Lenny Boyd Brewery.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to the Be Amazing podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please send it to someone who inspires you so they can feel amazing too. If you want to help us reach new listeners, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, you can find the video versions of our episodes on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram at the Be Amazing Podcast or DM me at Cel Smart. I'll see you in the next episode.